Microsoft just killed off Windows 10, and if you're among the 240 million users who are not being upgraded to Windows 11, don't panic. I actually have something even better for you. Introducing Zorin OS 18, the ultimate upgrade for Windows 10. We are talking about an OS that looks and feels exactly like Windows 11, but it's faster than Windows ever was, with zero bloat. It runs your existing Windows apps seamlessly and gets insane gaming performance. Yeah, I'm talking more FPS than Windows on the same hardware. I put this on a 10-year-old laptop and it runs circles around the new Windows 11. Zorin OS 18 is absolutely wild. I've tested over a dozen Linux distros looking for the perfect escape route for Windows 10 users, and Zorin OS 18 is without a doubt the most polished and seamless option we have. And in this video, I'll give you 18 phenomenal reasons that make Zorin OS 18 absolutely perfect for Windows users. And trust me, the fifth reason alone is worth the switch. It'll blow your mind. So let's jump right in. Alright, let's kick this off with the number one reason Zorin OS is an absolute banger for anyone leaving Windows 10. And of course, we are talking about the familiar user interface. Zorin OS absolutely kills in this department. Look, the biggest headache when switching your operating system is having to relearn everything from scratch. Zorin OS solves this problem to a huge degree. The second you boot it up, there's no confusion, no learning curve. It's designed to be the perfect Windows replacement right off the box. There's the taskbar, there's the start menu, and it all works exactly like you'd expect it to. You can see how the Windows to Linux transition with Zorin OS is just so frictionless. You use it exactly the same way. But I guess Zorin OS feels a bit more premium and polished, and all the Windows keyboard shortcuts you have used for years, yeah, they work just fine here. The thing about Zorin OS is that it doesn't require you to learn something new. It respects your skills and your familiarity with Windows and makes the switch seamless. But if you want to make some tweaks, just pop open the Zorin Appearance app and you get multiple layouts here. And yeah, you can play around with them and mix and match. If you have a favorite color, you can tweak the system's accent color to match it. And Zorin OS 18 brings two new colors, yellow and brown. There's also a phenomenal dark mode. The Zorin Appearance app lets you make Zorin truly your own. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how premium the whole thing feels. The desktop looks modern with its beautifully designed theme and rounded look. Zorin OS 18 brings this floating panel taskbar, which gives the whole setup a sleeker, more premium touch. From a completely user interface point of view, Zorin OS 18 is not just a replacement for Windows 10, it's a massive upgrade while maintaining that familiarity factor. On October 14th, 2025, Microsoft pulled the plug on Windows 10, killing it and leaving millions of users without security updates, basically turning their computers into sitting ducks. And what's their brilliant solution? Just buy a new PC. You know, I myself have a few computers that are absolutely fine once I actually do some gaming on, but they're not compatible with Windows 11 because they lack the TPM 2.0 requirement. There are 240 million such computers that are completely fine to use but won't be updated to Windows 11 because of these requirements. I'd understand if a computer was slow, laggy and old. That would be a good reason to replace it. But I don't think it's reasonable to throw away perfectly working computers just because they don't meet the TPM 2.0 requirement. They just don't have one security chip needed to upgrade to Windows 11. This is where Zorin OS 18 swoops in to save the day. This is the lifeline that's going to save your computer and breathe a new life into it, and potentially be greener for the environment by preventing many such computers from turning into expensive e-waste. The thing is, the whole Windows 10 to 11 upgrade situation makes it sound as if these older computers are fundamentally outdated or lacking something. But that's not the case. Computers purchased in the last 5 to 10 years should be absolutely fine hardware-wise, and Zorin OS runs lightning quick on them. Even computers as old as 15 years are going to perform miraculously with Zorin OS. Okay, let's have a look at the minimum system requirements to run Zorin OS 18 Core. You need 1 GHz dual-core processor, 64-bit, a minimum of 2 GB RAM, although 4 GB is recommended, and that's that. No TPM 2.0 chip needed. And for anyone with truly ancient or low-end machines, Zorin has a secret weapon, the free Zorin OS Lite Edition. It's going to be hyper-optimized with the lightweight XFC desktop, and it runs smoothly on even super old computers. By choosing Zorin OS, you're not just getting a new operating system, you're extending the life of your computer for years and potentially having a greener impact on our planet. And we've got only one of those. Alright, let's talk performance because Zorin OS 18 is seriously quick. I'm talking noticeably snappier and more responsive than Windows 10 on the same hardware. And this isn't just marketing fluff. Zorin OS 18 is built on the modern Linux kernel 6.14. This kernel brings performance optimizations for AMD and Intel CPUs, faster encryption, and just better overall efficiency. The entire system has a lighter footprint compared to Windows, fewer background processes eating your RAM, no telemetry constantly phoning home, and definitely no forced updates running in the background without your permission. And Linux in general is just way leaner and faster compared to Windows. It always has been. Windows as an operating system, as a platform, is extremely bloated. Apps behave very differently on Windows when compared to Linux. Everything wants to run in the background on Windows. It's actually night and day. And I'm not just talking about benchmark metrics. You will notice better performance in day-to-day usage and even in gaming. It's that good. And if you have slightly older hardware for low-power devices, you can try out Zorin OS Lite version, which really blazes on these older devices. Look, here's something that should honestly bother everyone more than it does. Windows is constantly collecting your data, telemetry, diagnostic data, usage patterns, everything is being sent back to Microsoft servers. And yeah, it's deeply integrated into the OS itself. You can't really turn it off completely. I think at this point, Microsoft knows more about us than we ourselves do. And that's just sad. Zorin OS takes the complete opposite approach. It doesn't collect your personal data, period. There's no telemetry phoning home, no tracking what you're doing, no advertising baked into your start menu. Your computer is actually yours. Absolutely no information about you or your computer or what you do on your computer is sent back to Zorin OS. They just don't do that. And because Zorin OS is open source, anyone can inspect the code and verify that it's doing exactly what it claims. This is transparency that you just cannot get with proprietary systems like Windows. Now Zorin OS has a thing called Zorin Census, which just counts how many active Zorin OS installations are there. It's completely anonymized, and if you want, you can opt out of it during installation itself. Absolutely harmless. In an era where privacy is becoming more and more important, where companies are profiting off your data, Zorin OS gives you a digital environment that actually respects you, and that's huge. By the way, if you haven't already, check out my course Linux Mastery Express. I've designed this course to level up your Linux skills very quickly. With this course, you'll get so comfortable using the terminal commands that your friends will think you're a Linux wizard. You'll get perfect with the most used, most useful commands, and also learn advanced things like using the V-editor and shell scripting as well. Linux Mastery Express, link in the description, do check it out. Okay, here's one of the smartest features of Zorin OS 18, and honestly this is just brilliant. Zorin OS comes with Windows app support, and this out of the box. You need not install Wine, Play or Linux or do any configuration for this to work. Yeah, many of the Windows apps that you use will be installable here. But there's more. This is absolutely genius. Let me demonstrate. Let's say you download a Windows installer file, a .exe file or some app you use on Windows. You double click to install it. When you do this the very first time, Zorin OS will automatically install Windows app compatibility layers. Now, instead of just trying to run it through the compatibility layer, Zorin OS actually recognizes what app you're trying to install. It has a built-in database of popular Windows applications. And here's where it gets cool. Zorin OS pops up and says, hey, I see you're trying to install Microsoft Office. But actually, you can use the web version of Office 365 right here and it will work way better. Or if you're installing some Windows Notes app, it might say, check out this native Linux alternative instead. It's faster, more secure, and integrates perfectly. If you're installing the VLC media player using the exe file, it will recommend that you install the Linux native version of VLC media player directly there itself. Yeah, if an app has a native Linux version, Zorin OS asks if you want to install that and does it for you. This is genius because it removes that anxiety of not knowing what to use on Linux. Instead of you googling around trying to find alternatives, Zorin OS is proactively helping you find the best solution. It's educating you while making your life easier. Absolute godsend for Linux newcomers. And if you really need to run that Windows app, you still can. Zorin OS will help you install it and make it available to you in the menu. But at least now you know there might be a better way. This thing smoothens the Windows to Linux transition by a huge degree. But I do want to clarify that not all Windows apps work on Zorin OS. Many do, but not all. Some complex, complicated software will have issues here. If you rely on certain Windows-only software, you need to check it out before you do the switch. If you're coming from Windows and have all your files in Microsoft OneDrive, you're in luck. Zorin OS 18 has native OneDrive integration built right in. Just head in Settings, open Online Accounts, sign into your Microsoft 365 account, and boom! Your OneDrive files appear directly in the Files app sidebar. You can browse, open, save, and manage your cloud files exactly like they're stored locally on your machine. You can even copy your OneDrive content onto your hard disk from here itself. This is another massive benefit for anyone migrating from Windows because your entire workflow stays intact. No third-party apps, no workarounds, it just works. Here's another feature that's absolutely game-changing. Zorin OS 18 has this built-in web apps tool that lets you turn any websites into a full desktop application. You can take Microsoft 365, Google Docs, Figma, Adobe Photoshop's web version, literally any website, and convert it into a standalone app. These web apps show up in your start menu. You can pin them to the taskbar and they run in their own windows without all the browser clutter. This is brilliant because so much of what we do today lives in the cloud anyway. Instead of having 36 browser tabs open, you got clean, dedicated apps for each service. It's faster, more organized, and honestly just feels more professional. I personally work in web apps 90% of the time, so I just feel this is fantastic. And this works with any browser you prefer. It's not locked to Chrome or Firefox, just pure flexibility. Here's something wild. You don't need antivirus software on Zorin OS. I'm serious. On Windows, you're constantly worried about virus, malware, ransomware. You got Windows Defender running in the background, maybe Norton or McAfee eating up your resources. It's a never-ending battle. And let's not forget the subscription costs. Zorin OS, being built on Linux, is architecturally resistant to pretty much all of that. The way Linux handles permissions means malware can't just install itself and take over your system. Any action that requires system-level access needs your explicit password authentication. This single step blocks a massive amount of automated malware that runs rampant on Windows. Plus, the Zorin software store is a curated, trusted repository. You're not downloading random exe files from sketchy websites. Everything here has been vetted and packaged properly. This drastically reduces your exposure to malicious software. And Zorin OS has built-in security features like App Armor that confine applications to strict permissions. Even if something does go wrong, which is extremely rare, the damage is contained. The freedom from constant security anxiety is honestly one of the most underrated benefits of switching to Linux. Your computer just feels safer. Alright, gamers, listen up because this is going to blow your mind. Gaming on Zorin OS is absolutely phenomenal today. There was a time when Linux was not the best platform for gaming, but that was a long time ago. Thanks to Steam and Valve's Proton technology, you can now play a massive library of Windows games on Zorin OS. And I'm not talking about indie pixel art games, I'm talking AAA titles like Cyberpunk 2077, GTA 5, The Witcher 3, Doom Eternal, Elden Ring. Yeah, these massive games just work. Proton is basically a compatibility layer that translates Windows game calls into Linux instructions on the fly. You just install Steam from the software store, enable Steam Play in the settings, and boom. Thousands of Windows games become playable. Just click install and hit play, that's it. No configuration, no tweaking, nothing. Click on install, click on play, yeah. And here's what's absolutely wild. Some games actually perform better on Linux than they do on Windows. Cyberpunk 2077, for example, has been shown to get higher frame rates on Linux with the same hardware. Let that sink in. Zorin OS comes with graphics drivers pre-installed for Nvidia, AMD and Intel. No hunting around for drivers, no manual installations, it's all set up out of the box. This means you are getting maximum performance from your GPU from day one. Check out ProtonDB to see which games are verified to run smoothly on Linux. Some big multiplayer games have issues with anti-cheat, so if you play those games, then you're out of luck. Anyway, the compatibility list is massive and growing every day. Check out ProtonDB for this. Linux gaming has absolutely exploded and Zorin OS is a fantastic platform for it. And if you have your own games, you can install them using this very Proton or even Wine and Get Gaming. I do some serious gaming on Linux and yeah, never had any complaints. Zorin OS 18 brings a powerful new window tiling manager that's honestly better than Windows 11 snap layouts. Just drag any window to the top of the screen and voila. A pop-up shows you different layout options. Drop the window onto a layout and it snaps perfectly into place. It's ridiculously intuitive. But here's where it gets better. You can customize these layouts, create your own tiling configurations, enable auto tiling that arranges windows automatically, and even set up keyboard shortcuts for power users. It's the perfect blend of simplicity for beginners and power for advanced users. Here's a Zorin OS feature that I absolutely love. Zorin Connect lets you seamlessly integrate your Android phone with your computer. Install the companion app on your phone, pair it with Zorin OS, and suddenly your devices are talking to each other. You can send and receive text messages directly from your computer, share files between your phone and PC with a simple drag and drop. Your phone notifications show up on your desktop, and you can even use your phone as a remote control for your computer. You can play, pause, go to next or previous tracks when music or media is playing on your computer with this. Your phone becomes the remote control. The clipboard syncing is honestly a game changer. Copy something on your phone, paste it on your computer, or the other way around, it just works. For anyone constantly switching between their phone and computer, Zorin Connect eliminates so much friction. Your devices finally work together like they should. Let's talk about one of the most frustrating things about Windows: updates. Look, I'm not going to deny that Windows gives you warnings and lets you set active hours to avoid restarting during work. But here's the thing. If you keep postponing those updates, Windows will eventually force that restart whether you like it or not. So say goodbye to all your unsaved work if that happens. And you better hope that update doesn't break something. And then there's the shutdown situation. If you had a long day, you click shutdown and Windows says, nope, we are installing updates first. And you're just sitting there waiting for it to finish so you can finally go home. How many times does this thing need updating every month anyway? This is frustrating, maddening. Your computer should work for you, not against you. Zorin OS does things completely differently. Updates are available, and when you're ready, you decide when to install them. If you're in the middle of work, cool, update later. About to shut down, just shut down. No forced restarts, no surprise interruptions. And here's the best part. Updates on Linux rarely require a restart. You can update your entire system and just keep working. Only kernel updates need a reboot, and even then, you choose when to. And Zorin OS is what's called a stable release, so updates are sent very conservatively and at a manageable pace. With Zorin, you control your PC, not the other way around. By the way, I forgot to mention, Zorin OS is completely free. Not a trial, not a freemium version with basic features locked behind a paywall, not an upsell scheme, actually free. Download it, install it, and use it forever, zero cost. Windows 11, that'll be $139 for the Home Edition, $199 for Pro. Or it comes bundled with your new PC, and trust me, you are paying for it in the price tag. With Zorin OS, you're getting a modern, polished, secure and powerful operating system that rivals Windows in every way, and you're paying nothing. This might be really surprising to people who are new to Linux, but in the Linux world, almost all the distros are completely free. This is truly by the people for the people. Now let me be honest, there is a paid Zorin OS Pro version for $48 for lifetime. That comes with extra layouts, pre-installed professional software and priority support. But the free Core edition, it's phenomenal. Most people will never need Pro. Now let me clarify this with 100% transparency. The free Core edition doesn't miss out on any features that are only available in the paid Pro version. No, this is 100% usable for absolutely everybody. You should get the paid Pro version only if you need those additional things like more desktop layouts and some additional apps which you can install in the free Core version yourself, or if you need technical support for installing Zorin OS or want to support the development of Zorin OS itself. The free version should be absolutely fantastic for almost everybody. On a fresh Windows install, you're getting Candy Crush, trial version of antivirus software, manufacturer apps you'll never use, and a bunch of other junk nobody asked for. Zorin OS on the other hand is just clean, just the essentials. No trial software begging for subscriptions, no random games pre-installed, no manufacturer bloat eating your disk space and RAM. You get a web browser, a file manager, an office suite, and the core tools that you actually need. That's it. Want more apps? You choose what to install, your system, your software, zero junk. This is what a fresh OS install should look like. It should give you a good base and let you customize and install everything that you need. That's exactly what Zorin OS does. Here's something really important. Zorin OS 18 is built on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. That LTS stands for long-term support, and it's a huge deal, especially if you're new to Linux. What this means is simple. Install Zorin OS 18 today and you'll get security updates and bug fixes all the way until April 2029. That's almost 5 years of rock-solid support. No forced upgrades to a completely new version. Your system stays stable, secure, and just works. A new version of Zorin OS, that is Zorin OS 19, will release 2 years later from now, but you can continue using this version till 2029 or upgrade, completely your choice. This is perfect for people who use their computers for work or just want a system that doesn't require constant major updates. You set it up once and it stays reliable for years. Zorin OS is what's called a stable Linux distribution. What it means is you need not update or upgrade your system repeatedly. Once you install it, you can just keep using it for a really long time. Although from a security point of view, I do recommend that you update your system once a while. And the Zorin OS system itself remains conservative and consistent. They don't change things too much, so you enjoy that solid computing platform. Compare that to Windows 10, which just got killed off after 10 years, forcing millions to upgrade and worse, by completely new hardware. With Zorin OS 18, you got stability and peace of mind until 2029. Install it and forget about it. All these reasons were cool. Here's another really fantastic one. Zorin OS lets you dual boot alongside Windows 10 or 11. You can keep both operating systems on the same computer and choose which one to use at startup. Not ready to fully commit? No problem. Install Zorin OS alongside Windows, try it out for real world work, and if you ever need Windows for something specific, just reboot and select it. Your Windows installation stays completely untouched. This is perfect for easing into the Linux world without burning bridges. Most people quickly realize they rarely boot back into Windows, but knowing you can, I think that gives you peace of mind and removes that intimidation factors of jumping into a completely new operating system. Here's something absolutely huge. Zorin OS is an open source software, and this is a game changer. Open source means the actual code that runs Zorin OS is publicly available. Anyone can look at it, study it, and verify it's doing exactly what it claims. Windows, on the other hand, that's closed source and proprietary. The code is locked up. You just have to trust Microsoft. With open source, there are no hidden backdoors, no secret data collection, no surprises. Thousands of developers worldwide constantly review and improve the code. Bugs get fixed faster, security holes get patched quicker, and here's the beautiful part. The entire global community contributes to making Zorin OS better. As I said, this is software built by the people for the people. That's the beauty of Linux and open source software. Okay, let's have a look at the final reason, and this one is big. The community. When you are switching from Windows, you are going to have questions. How to install something, how to configure something, how to change some settings. Maybe something isn't working right, or you want to customize something. The Zorin community and the broader Linux community has your back. The official forums are packed with helpful people ready to guide you through anything. And because Zorin is built on Ubuntu, you got access to one of the largest Linux communities on the planet. Ubuntu community is even bigger than Zorin OS, and many of the guides and troubleshooting material and stuff written for Ubuntu will be applicable to Zorin OS as well. This is very important. If you don't find any information regarding how to do something or install something on Zorin OS itself, you can try out the same search for Ubuntu, and there's a good chance that it will work on Zorin OS as well. Stuck on something? Google it. Chances are someone has already solved your exact problem and pasted the solution. I've been using Linux for years, and the community support has been phenomenal. Embracing the Linux community, learning how to navigate forums and help material is a big part of being a Linux user. A good part. I feel that you're not just getting an operating system when you switch to Linux. You're joining a worldwide community of people who believe in better software. Yeah. There you have it. 18 reasons Zorin OS 18 is the best option or upgrade for Windows 10 refugees. Look, I get it. Switching operating systems feels scary. It's the fear of the unknown. And Zorin OS is custom designed from the ground up to make this switching easy and as effortless as possible. Yeah, there are other Linux distributions. Arch Linux, Fedora, Debian, Linux Mint, Ubuntu. We are not even scratching the surface here. But Zorin OS is the perfect one for Windows users. The thing that absolutely hooked me about Linux was the freedom, choice. With Windows, you're stuck with whatever Microsoft decides. Forced updates, data collection, planned obsolescence, you have zero say. With Zorin OS, with Linux, you are in control. This is software built by a global community that actually cares. It's free, it's open source, it's transparent. And once you switch to Linux, get a hang of it, a whole new world of hundreds of fantastic other distributions opens up for you. This Windows 10 end of life thing is not a crisis. I think it's an opportunity, a chance to switch to something genuinely better, a chance to upgrade. So here's what I want you to do. Download Zorin OS today, create a USB stick, Try it. You don't even need to install Zorin OS. You can just boot it from a USB stick and give it a spin. You can start using it before you make any changes to your hard disk. I've linked the download link in the description below. I also linked some resources that are going to help you to get started with Zorin OS. Yeah, definitely give it a try. Alright, if you found this video useful, if you enjoyed it, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and also leave me a big thumbs up. And if you are interested in leveling up your Linux skills, the link to my course Linux Mastery Express is given in the description below. It's designed to teach you Linux and take you from zero to hero in the shortest time possible. You'll be using Linux like a pro within a matter of hours, so definitely check that out. Next up, check out the top 10 hottest Linux apps that you should be using. I got some really fantastic ones there, so definitely don't miss that. Alright, this is the Next X signing out.